What If Goku Was in the Boys TV Show Universe Season 3, Part 19. Now, Mother's Milk is being put up to speed of the situation that they are in by both Homelander and Butcher, that Goku is essentially kind of being mind-controlled, Becca is now gone, and Ryan has been kidnapped by both Goku and Stormfront. And to say that he is freaking out about this would be an understatement. And MM's response to this whole thing is, are you two telling me that we have essentially lost our ace in the hole to the most evilest corporation in the world, and we also lost our second ace in the hole on the same day? And Huey essentially says the sentence that the majority of the boys are thinking, and that is, we are so the only game plan that they could come up with is to have Starlight go back into Vought Tower and essentially do kind of like a reconnaissance mission to see where Goku is, where they might be keeping Ryan. And the only bit of actual good information that they have is the fact that Goku at one point was starting to resist the drugs, but because he was given another dose of the freaking whatever they created into his system, it was able to keep him under control. Stormfront cannot be happier. Everything seems to be coming up for Vought. They have Goku under control. They have Ryan, who is essentially going to be the leash that has Homelander come back to Vought eventually, once he is done with his quote-unquote tantrum, at least in their eyes. And Stormfront has been having talks with Stan Edgar about having certain members of the Seven needing a certain trim of a certain character. A-Train has been feeling great. Ever since he took Compound C, his body has been feeling revitalized, as if it has been reborn somehow. Now, A-Train wants to get back into the game, do some races, promotional materials. He's been out of it for a while due to his heart having a certain condition, but now that it's been, revitalized, he feels like he can go back into the ring. But A-Train listens in on a conversation between Stormfront and Stan Edgar about having certain members of the Seven cut out, and his name is being said a lot more than he is comfortable with. It takes him a bit of time, but he can see the writing on the wall, and he knows that the only people that he can imagine that can get rid of Stormfront so that he can save his position are the people that he dislikes the most. Homelander was also given a task that he was also going to need to return to Vought as well, in order to maybe get into Vought's good graces so that he could find Ryan a lot quicker. Homelander is a bit conflicted. On one second, he has lost the only friend that he ever actually made and could actually understand what it's like to be in this world of freaking cardboard. But on the second hand, he technically would be back in his number one spot because Goku is also mentally gone. Now, as Homelander walks into the halls and is about to head into Stan Edgar's office, he has a choice that he sees that's right in front of him. To save Goku and get his best friend back, but at the cost of losing everything, or allow Vought this victory, keeping the physical body with Goku with him at all times and keeping the fame and the fortune, but losing the only real friendship that he ever truly had. Meanwhile, back at the boys' HQ, Frenchie, Kimiko, and Mother's Milk are the ones having to watch Butcher, because he's going through quite a bit of changes, and they need all hands on deck with him. The Boys TV Show Universe Season 3, Part 20. Now, A-Train has been just doing his own thing so far, but he's been hearing a lot of stuff that's kind of concerning. Because they are getting Goku back, but the thing is, everything else just seems off. Goku is not acting like himself anymore, and apparently he may be being kicked off of the Seven, even though his condition, especially with his heart, is completely fine. And it's all because of flipping Stormfront. It's like a slow transition. They're going to essentially kick him out of the Seven and replace him with Ryan. He doesn't want to go out like this, so he decides to get his hands on some certain information from that little church he happened to be a part of for that short amount of time. And he knows just who to give that to. Not to mention that he really wants to get some information himself about what the heck is going on with Goku, because he has not been acting like himself for a while. Meanwhile, with the boys, Billy was going through spasms, as in, like, his body just kept on freaking shaking, and his hair changed color for just a split second, and then it just stopped. Mother's Milk is essentially just looking at Billy on the floor and is just, as soon as he actually gets up by himself, he's like, "Are you okay? Are you alright? What the hell was that?" Billy looks directly into Mother's Milk's eyes and just goes, "I don't know." Starlight is now giving a call to the boys and telling them what is going on. Apparently, there's going to be a freaking press conference to introduce Ryan and Homelander, and it's going to be a special event of sorts. Starlight is talking to the boys and essentially telling them that they need to try and get to Goku on that event. And Huey is like, why? In particularly, why do we need to try and sneak into this event? Because it's not like we could have taken Goku regardless. Now, Starlight goes into her plan. If they get into this event and are able to prevent Stormfront from giving Goku any more pills, then he should start to revert back to normal eventually. But if they wait, she has been hearing around, especially from Stan Icker, that he's going to plan to have Goku exterminate them all after the event. So, time is of the essence. And it's the only point where Stormfront is going to be way too freaking distracted with all of the people around that she's not going to be able to keep an eye on Goku at all times. Really kind of goes into how the heck are we supposed to actually even get into the event, considering our faces are pretty freaking well known to both Vought and the world's most wanted list. So how the heck are we supposed to even get near Goku if we're going to be probably dead before we ever even get there? Billy walks in front of the entire group and just goes, "Why don't we put on a show?" Because what is an event without some fireworks? Frenchie looks at Billy and just goes, "What do you have in mind?" What If Goku was in the Boys TV Show Universe Season 3, Part 21, Season Finale. Now, A-Train ends up coming in when the boys are trying to sneak into this Vought party, and is giving them an envelope full of Stormfront's dirty laundry. Now, at first, A-Train really does not want to be involved, but with a lot of convincing, specifically from Mother's Milk, he convinces him that, having Goku being like this and essentially being the knife over his freaking throat is probably not going to be the best way to live. Now, the bombs that Frenchie has are set to an exact time. So when they're all in, the distraction will be set and they're going to be all going after Goku to ensure that they can get those pills away from him as soon as possible. Queen Maeve has been kind of keeping her distance, especially with all the craziness that has been happening with Vought. But she has been feeling extremely uncomfortable with the whole Stormfront essentially being the new leader of the Seven, essentially. And Goku being in a daze and Homelander just being in this weird middle ground of something. She may not like the guy, but she's never really seen him be this uneasy before. And Stormfront is giving this really fake corporate type speech, essentially just introducing Ryan into the Seven, and it really just feels kind of forced and really, really fake and such that it's kind of annoying. Especially since he's never been given the proper time to even grieve his own mom's death. Homelander is sitting right next to Ryan, and even he is confused about how he's supposed to feel about this whole situation. Like, he technically has his life back, he has his son, he has his best friend, who's technically not there, but everything around him feels so empty. As soon as it's his turn to give up his really corporate speech, suddenly something just goes off like a bomb. Mother's Milk, Frenchie, and Kimiko are going to be in charge of giving all of the information to the news stations and making sure it's being played throughout the entirety of New York City so that everybody knows that Stormfront should not be trusted in any circumstances. Meanwhile, Starlight and Billy Butcher are in charge of distracting Goku specifically. Meanwhile, A-Train is in charge of getting a hold of those pills so that they can't be given to Goku, and he's the only one that is fast enough to actually get it away from Stormfront. As Stormfront is being attacked by A-Train, Stormfront gives the order to Goku to attack and kill all of the boys. Goku goes straight into his Super Saiyan transformation, and both Billy and Starlight know they got their work cut out for them in this moment. Meanwhile, Huey has been given the task to get Ryan and get him the literal hell out of there. Now, Homelander is at a bit of a crossroads here. Does he just help Stormfront and continue this normal-ish life? Or does he help the boys and get Goku back and may have a chance to actually have some happiness in his life? Goku is just powering up and is going into grade 2 and just seems to be shattering glass all around. Like there isn't any kind of plates that don't have cracks in them, and the tables just seem to be flying. Starlight does her best by shooting as many freaking lightning bolts from her hands, but that doesn't seem to be slowing Goku down much at all and is barely affecting him. But it did become a bit of a distraction enough that Goku ended up going after her first. Billy Butcher steps in front of Starlight and takes the brunt of that freaking punch, knowing that if that punch had hit Starlight, she could have potentially died. And it hurt him severely, like he's almost down to the floor, but he is at least being able to say he's alive. But as he is absorbing the pain, he's actually tapping into some anger and rage, and as such, his hair starts to flicker at least a bit blonde. Queen Maeve and Black Noir were given the task to protect the executives, to ensure that they ended up getting out safely. And as Ryan is almost out of the exit door, he just sees that freaking Billy Butcher and Starlight are barely holding on, and Ryan feels like he needs to step in. So he easily gets out of Huey's freaking hold and goes straight to where Billy Butcher is. And finally, Homelander decides to pick a side. And he decides to fight Goku so that he can finally have his friend back. His first attack is to shoot lasers directly at Goku's back, which does in fact get Goku to move. But it doesn't freaking take him down for long. Meanwhile, the fight between A-Train and Stormfront is going freaking ballistic, because it seems that both of them, as soon as they attack the other, both of them seem to heal almost automatically. But A-Train notices something. Stormfront is not in an ideal space to fight, so he uses his speed, goes into a circle at fast pace, and punches her with enough strength that it makes her pass out. Billy is taking one hell of a beating. This man is getting punched left and right, and as he is getting punched, his blonde hair just seems to be flickering. It's like it's almost there, but not quite. And as it seems that Goku is about to do a finishing blow, Homelander comes in and he does a really full force tackle to get Goku at least out of Billy's way. But that tackle did not last long, because as soon as Goku gets a hold of Homelander's arm, he ends up twisting it and breaking it like it was a twig, and then throwing him all the way across the room. Butcher finally just snaps, because he had to be saved by the man he hates the most, and that infuriates him to such a level that his full hair finally just goes full blonde instead of just flickering. Mind you, he's not anywhere close to being as strong as Goku, but he's at least enough to actually get Goku to start actually feeling his punches. Goku is about to do a Kamehameha and just annihilate Billy, but then suddenly somebody's laser eyes end up shooting Goku just enough to distract him. And it was Ryan, who was really trying to ensure that Billy didn't die. And as Goku is distracted for that second, Billy Butcher is able to tackle Goku to the ground. Homelander also uses the bit of his strength, getting back up with his one arm, considering the other one's broken, and also tries to hold Goku down. Ryan also decides to get on the fray, and they all try to just hold down Goku, and hopefully the drug will wear off by then. Goku, in utter frustration, freaking powers up and just freaking makes them all fly off of his body. The first person Goku sees and is about to attack is Ryan, and he starts to walk towards him and is about to put his hands on him, and then his eyes just start to flicker from red to blue. The drug's effects are starting to now finally wear off, and as Goku is literally fighting, he's holding his head in agony, just fighting off what's left of this drug out of his body. And as he looks at Ryan, he can just feel this intense rage for all of the previous actions he's done, such as killing Ryan's mom. Ryan looks dead into Goku's eye and says, "Fight it, Goku, fight it! You're better than this!" Goku gives one last freaking infernal scream, and his eyes finally get rid of the red, and his teal eyes come back to normal. So now they got the real Goku back.